Hello again. From the committee? I don't know. from the boys, from the guy. I still can't quite believe what just happened. Me too. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. It seems that Mr. Vigor was taken to the hospital to recover. I hope no one kills him. Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigor attempted to commit suicide by jumping out the window of the prison governor office. But ever since then, he completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Oh, they stopped him. This is why they didn't want to talk about it. Nobody knew about his secrets, not his family, not even the man himself, but I forced it out into open. Was it wrong to me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? Rudo! Jesus Christ, you scared the shit out of me, Iris. I thought someone was like calling from the deep death. Well, miles away anyway. I bring a free spot of soothing tea for you. Oh, thank you. You and Susie have an exhausting day so far, haven't you? Yes, Iris. You have. I have too. Anyway, oh. Thank you, how thoughtful of you. Very kind. Do you happen to know where Sholmes is? Did he hide somewhere? When he came out of the courtroom back in the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. That makes sense. Oh no, I don't know. Just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. What he said was, "I must leave." Wonder if he pursued the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Hurley always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world, what should perhaps never be solved. But the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of somebody else. What does that mean? There is a character we never actually show her face. It's the daughter of Mr. Dr. Saiti. The daughter. We met her, but don't really know who she is. Maybe in a DLC, or maybe in this. It's hard to tell. He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. He just can't take his own advice, and well, alone solving mysteries is too important to him. That's true. But that's what you like about Hurley, after all. I suppose that's the lot of great detective in some ways. Some way. So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand. Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yes, I finished this small manuscript at last. We barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. A brand new story, reading the adventure of Sherlock Holmes. You know, I always had Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? Poor Mr. Sherlock. I feel like it's very annoying if someone's playing it while you're writing. Sure, that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. Okay. What is the plan? This morning trial. So how did it go in the court this morning? Weird? Hard to tell. Well, I still don't know the truth about what really happened. One thing is increasingly clear. It's getting heavy. Potato shavy. Lomanzis definitely didn't do it. How are you so sure about that? Oh, goody. He definitely didn't do it. Yes, that's right. You managed to uncover several new facts as well. Do you think that Professor survived, actually managed to escape, but he becomes the Reaper? Because he doesn't know who the Reaper is. Everyone saw he's Van Zisk. But the Professor was already killing these kind of people, right? Oh, really? And it was just an excuse. And there was another development too, Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. You didn't say he was dead and disappeared, he had amnesia? I'll act up too. His acting is almost as if he's possessed. And I also discovered that my father is a mass murderer in Britain and he was fucking executed. I'll be a little bit upset too. Give me some fucking time. Jesus, guys. Anyway, I mean at the end of the proceedings earlier. It was like a bloodhound, the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigor's forgotten past. Don't blame him, he wants to know the truth. Is he really that person that you think it is, you know? Even though he doesn't really know about his father, maybe he has some recollection. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. And defending my boy! Defending my boy! Try to understand it, Jesus. The Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered. 1216 has to be innocent, you see. The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the cause, surely. But it was omitted. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of that was included in the autopsy report. Wonder why. What is curious? This is curious. This is the higher up to kill him. There are all these unanswered questions about Long Van Zisk, though, aren't there? What do you mean? I mean, what was he doing from the Fresno Street that day in the first place? Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? Turns out that little room was actually the Inspector's secret office. Oh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderful devilish plot. Damn it. I'm trying to understand, but you think this could be a strong card? Nah, I don't know. But then why was the notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. The reason why I say it is because not many people have the power to admit that, right? Oh dear, that sounded more like something horribly devilish. Must start by looking to Inspector Gregson's movement of late. Because it reminds me of the design of Duns, you know, the story-wise. Gregson movement. That's the problem with me playing games. This is why I should keep looking for something new. Because the familiar becomes too predictable. Never imagine I might have to investigate the unexpected movements. Or maybe just me, trying to read it between the lines. But according to the entry in his diary, he's carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as early? Well, Mr. Sean was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating. I wish I had been another way around. Anyway, it turns out the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day was not actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification. Do you know what that sounded like to me? Establishing an alibi. Yeah, there it is. I think Iris is right. Oh my, yes, you're so absolutely right, Iris. Why will Gregson need an alibi? He was definitely involved in that case. He was definitely investigating something. We're up here as the inspector. But who has to be... Yeah, like why you will do it? Like, it must be to hide from someone higher up. And something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips. But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Really? That's what you say, Naruhodo? Okay. Drugs! This is probably, I don't know, soy sauce. Or teriyaki. Fish and chips. Salt and vinegar. I don't know why British people love the salt and vinegar. I hate it. I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies. Well, anyway, if Long Van Zisk felt the need to investigate Gregson. Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. The Vigil condition. Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? Yes, it was indeed him. That's right, to ask Mr. Sholmes if he will help her to find her missing husband. Only Mr. Sean completely passed the buck to us. Actually, you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to the hospital. You know which one? Saint Sinner? Okay, he's probably going to die. I'm starting to wonder if all other hospitals in London have closed down. Oh, that's amazing, Runo. You found a lady husband already. Yeah! Money! Well, I suppose I have by accident. And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder of the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No! When the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Sometimes really don't want to grow up. Yeah, it sucks. There's more for 10 years after that. While he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be at his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. Impersonate Grexy? But why? Absolutely no idea. Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good. I go to you, Bruno. I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. Still. Just gonna be one day we're gonna do it. The video was tied to the professor to Inspector Gregson there. But I hope it is not for murder cases. So I do think to be out to pay to visit for Mr. Biggle, don't you? Maybe for a week, who knows? Better sign sooner then. Back to the hospital. Nothing else? Goodbye. Well, I think it's clear that we need to do this, isn't it? Let's investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris joins the party. Oh, Iris, you seem more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special wisdom shooting iron will soon set them straight. That what pistol? No, it's a natural gun. The staff duel of piping hot extra special blend of mine. So it's boiled water? I'm quite sure it will be very effective. So it's a pepper spray, right? Better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels like strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out. Yeah! Iris join the party. Ta-ding! Come on, yeah. I hope so, I don't know. Let's go! No arguments, Prosecutor Asoki. You will continue with trial exactly as instructed, is that clear? Perfectly. It's Katsuma-sama. Defy Longstrong by the sound of it! Define him! Anyway, he never did know when to back down. Oh well, that makes sense. On your way now, Asoki, my lord. Katsuma. He left without saying a word. Yes, what are you doing here? We're just hoping to ask you a few questions if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Van Zist's trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asogi and welcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? Like what? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43, 45, 46, 47. Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours has passed, Mr. Naruhodo. And I'm miracle not even 5 minutes. Anyway, I can't let that my own bad mood put me off. Indeed. I need information! I need to know. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Van Zisk is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial, the Lord Van Zisk made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant being a leader of criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress. What the hell duress? What the hell is duress? Like bribed? Oh, that's awful! The man's freedom was short-lived, he lasted just 3 days. Cold days. Cold deal. Let me see, he died in the rock slide at his place of work, I believe. Rock slide? Correct. Sorry. Correct, that was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Ballet. Oh, that was quick. The people believe Lord Van Zisk was responsible. He was brought to trial himself, but it wasn't shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious steps continue. In total, 16 people perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run for coincidence. Well, the Reaper true identity may well be revealed by this trial. And the impact that revelation will have of the British public cannot be understated. That is why it's a close crime. Precisely. This country hasn't seen a close trial for 10 years. So the last one was the Professor, the trial of Ryunosuke. Yes, I know that. It is a refresh, I guess, correct? Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, those strongholds. Van Ziska entertained me to relinquish the prosecution to him that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man that Van Ziska condemned now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. Ironic, isn't it? And do you say that what goes around comes around? However, it will seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Kazuma is. Like my organization runs smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clog in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step without the waters. So that's all the years are about here. If the young man refuses to match with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. What do you mean? Not something with which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Go. If you kill Katsuma, I will hunt you down! I'm assuming if he's the bad guy. Now I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As you, of this moment, I'll be delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that is a long time. And I hold you entirely responsible. Thank you, even though we miraculously managed to fit everything in not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree to us talking with the Professor Asogi. Prosecutor Asogi. Professor Asogi. What the hell did he die? Discussion between the defense and prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go, you can find him in his office. Interesting. Oh, thank you. Very interesting. Let's go to see him at once, Mr. Naruhodo. It's very, very interesting. Kazuma, my best friend in the world, but I'm really not all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. Like, if I was... if I had any implication, I wouldn't want them to talk to each other, to be honest. I don't know. It's kind of weird, sorry. It's kind of weird he allowed us to speak to each other. Interesting. Oh, Van Zisk is reading. Look. Look, he's reading. We see him already reading, but okay. It doesn't seem like he once visited, does he? He never looks like he wants to have visitors, to be honest. But he must have noticed that we are here, surely. Talk ill about him. He will get up. No? Oh, he get up. What do you want? What do you Nipponese want? That's no way to grade a lawyer who's trying to hardest to prove you're innocent, is it? Perhaps not. I apologize, sir. What can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? No, Zisk, speak earnestly. Oh no, is the word ending? The fog will lift over London for the first time in months longer. This does feel very, very strange. I must say, I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, but your fellow Nipponese. Not by you? By your dad, Katsuma. I know, he's fucking great. Oh, I see. Yes, he's great. He's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, it's so loathing of the Nipponese to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played a part of the Reaper all these years. Played a part, huh? So nobody knows the identity of the Reaper. You once told me that you gladly allow people to believe you were the Reaper, because it helped to reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. I've keeping quiet and playing the part of benefit the cause. A cause I myself am committed to pursuing. Then why should I choose to say anything? But the henchman of that criminal killed by the Ripper attacked you only the other day. And that was just most recent of many attempts of your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you as a way to kill more people. Believe me, ever since the Ripper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. Maybe he's right. The whole organization, it makes sense. It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by a single man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Someone at you can mean. It's taken many years, but I finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Did you? Tobias Gregson. Oh my god, really? No! No! Gregson? The Reaper? It's hard to believe. So the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper? As I said, the Reaper of the Ballad is not a single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard, but there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of the organization. I don't believe it. Are you saying that that he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there? I think he was definitely aware of it. But Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh, was Bramby part of it? Maybe indirectly. He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks of the plotter assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi, which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Ripper, but the room he rents at Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson will have met the assassin there for briefings. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then? Actually, I do have a name. You what? You have a name? Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then. Or if I can name the woman. The daughter? She's a young woman by the name of Asashin. Wait. Huh? Have you ever met her? No. Asashin with 2 N? Asashin. Asashin? Sheen? Wait, what? Ah, yeah, Giselle. The true name of the terrifying killer I know only too well, but she's dead, so... She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then just when it seemed the diplomatic protection will help her escape Japan and conviction, she died. The mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Ballet. But she was away for probably a year at least, right? She went away as a student. Mr. Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't a place to discuss. No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson. Because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that man was her father. That would be so annoying. I don't know. I'll feel so annoyed. No, he does like, oh, your dad is dead. Assassin, of course. They're not even trying. I should let father know at once. Yes, agree. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Sogi. You say he's friend of yours. My best friend. My best friend! He's not a friend! He's not just a friend! He's my bestie! Know that. It's the whole reason I got some to inbreed. It's the only reason I got to come to Breeden. It was all of his merits. I have nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings early today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. Genshi, Asoki, the prosecutor. The professor? Sorry, I'm misreading. I don't know why. It's true that aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their powers, playing with the common man as both in politics, economics, and war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker for society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. Oh, I see. But that's precisely why. It makes no sense. Clint Van Zysk was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did the damn Nepalese have to go to take my brother's life? Maybe he discovered it, in spite of having once saved mine. He saved your life? How did it happen? I guess about the mark you have on your bloody face. Someone tried to stab you in the face. It was 10 years ago on a foggy night. It was to be the professor's final strike and send a wave of panic through the capital. So Clint Van Zysk has already been killed at this point then. Genshi and I were walking down some back street at a late hour. Of course, at that point I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden... Don't make a peep! You're coming with us! We were surrounded. All of us. All of our silent were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scars. He was not only from a noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. He's been targeted several times before already. Yeah, this is Van Zysk, right? We got him! I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves and knew they were after me. Just when I thought my time had come. If I let them kill you, Clint will never forgive me. It was a soggy voice, just sweeping my ear. Whisper? Bang. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshi lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He shielded me. 2 days later, they arrested him. The suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the professor. How awful for me. All that at once. I lost a brother I revered, and a foreign friend I held in such high regard. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zysk. So he has a strong doubt he's the professor. That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone. Well, thank you for confiding in me. Or in us. Or whatever. The professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are. I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper, giving an assassin's order to Giselle Brett. Mr. Naruhodo, let's go inform my father! I'm sure our governor will want to hear about this new information. That means I get to meet your daddy! Susie, hooray! Alright, let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Vamonos! That's everything? That's everything? Oh, we still have the evidence from the previous location. Vigil Hospital, right? Okay, let's go to Waterloo. Waterloo! It's kind of weird actually, right? We could just let it happen. Thought it yesterday, I think it again today. This place is so princely. Princely? Expensive, rather. It's well, yes, but I have a feeling you will think the same tomorrow, too. It's just a feeling. My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they are serving the tea room here, though. Wouldn't you say? Wait, what? Look what we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure. Mikotoba, you gonna tell Iris? Throw everything, all the responsibility to the professor. The doctor, sorry. Father! Oh, it is your daddy, Susie? How lovely. He knows. He think he knows. What a charming young lady you are. He nods. Ah, really? So you're the author of the adventure Sherlock Holmes, are you? That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, so. Sir? Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know? Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest. He must know, he must know, he must know. Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, father? Is that so? Perhaps there goes some way to explain that bright look in your eyes. You wouldn't be smiling so ill if you knew just how bright she is. Believe me, she's very bright. She has so much potential. She goes loud. No, I'm kidding. Now then, young Naruhodo. He has a pleasure to seeing you in action earlier. Thank you. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery after twisted some lines. Twisted. I must say I was truly exemplary with performance. Oh well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you omitted by counting on the end there. No, please don't misunderstand. I was you who impresses me. Really? Really? Someone talks you well about me? Did you miss a step against Asogi? We all know how capable he is. he knew that Asogi was too good. So, really, to have a mature in such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary. I agree with that. I agree, it's not easy. It's very kind of you to say so. And really nice to hear. What is so in court today confirmed that I've been hoping for? What? The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruto. I trust you haven't forgotten. You didn't! Oh, no. You did mention something, didn't you? But first, you didn't say it! I have something to report, father. Of course, shall we take a tea while we discuss matters further? I wonder where Judge Wu has got to. Hello? Sorry, I kind of noticed when there is a delay, the game lags for a bit, and usually that means, oh, delay! So I kind of notice when it's delaying, so I had to reset everything again. Kind of aboutism. Anyway, let's talk! About Reaper! Father! Do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Valley? He must know. You must have heard of it. Heard rumors some members of the judiciary explained all of me yesterday. Interesting. Of course, when I was visiting a student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge. Right, he didn't appear until after the case when visiting students had already returned home. But Francisque was in the dockyard today. That was Barrett, the younger brother of King Francisque, I believe. Yes, he was. That's right. And he known through London as the Reaper, as you heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious stuff. It was somebody else. A group of people, they appear so. I see. I see. So what are you saying is there is been a professional killer at work here? Yes. Exactly. Someone that named Assassin, in fact. I beg your pardon? Did you say Assassin? You mean the Giselle bred woman who was responsible for killing my great friend? Oh no, a friend of yours was killed? Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend of the professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. And that's not something we want Iris to find out. Not like this, anyway. I don't know. I think she realized that at this point. I just remember something. Biscuits! This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits. That was run out of the blue. She's doing this deliberately. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase them. I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris? No! Oh yes. Just try to just try to leave me behind. So that young girl. Yes. It's called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right. And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great detective shows. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see. Her father? Dr. H. Wilson was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. Is that kind of interesting that, oh, he's my best friend. I didn't know she has a daughter. Didn't know he had a daughter. That's why I was Keen to reciprocally invite him to Human University 4 years ago. But he was murdered last year by Giselle Perret. Why will the hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about the case. Seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. Well, I can't say that Iris ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. So it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think? Well, John and Wills are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure. That's what we thought, yeah. Like, there's some guy named Dr. John H. that died in Japan. Hope he's not your father. We're back! Cinnamon biscuits! Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. Lovely as it is. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here, don't you, Susie? Yes! I'm sure you're right, Iris. They come back. I haven't seen Judge Jikoku for a while. Have you? Ah, guilty! Guilty! That guilty is still ringing my ears. No, now you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning. Either, suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, we're going to explore the great exhibition. I was like, why is Mel murdered? Why is Mel murdered at some point? Reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jikaku having once been the doc himself. The doc? Ah yes, it was all tied up with that accursed trial. The close trial of Kazuma father. Seisho was trying to mitigate Genshi's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. To break? Okay, oh my. He also said some contemptuous word about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Oh dear, although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Well, it was alright and he was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together. Thank goodness. Ah yes, talking of Seisho. Have a copy of the photograph we all took together yesterday, please. Oh no. What a lovely picture. I suddenly received the shout that we arrived in Britain. Combination of what has been entered into cold record. Why there's a huge luggage there. None of us had any idea that was coming when we took that, did we? No, that's not true. I was strong feeling I killed him. I don't know why. So we mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me. We don't see a character for too long. She's probably dead. Well, this fatal trial that you're fighting, one way or another will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like to accompany me back to Japan. You want me to do what? Father, what the mayor's meaning of this? Now, Susato, you should understand, you've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean? The Supreme Court of Judicature is actually in need of a good defense lawyer, as soon as possible, really quite urgently in fact. There's someone died in Japan, but I've not been in London a year yet. I've read all Susato reports and well aware of your extraordinary talents, and having seen your action with my own eyes earlier, there's no question, you, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs. Oh no, you're telling me there's a chapter 3? So, you're leaving then, Runo? But then, what am I supposed to do, father? I don't know. I actually don't know. We came here to serve as a soggy judicial assistant. Oh yes, our committee is still in the process of deciding how to best to deal with this situation though. We're gonna play as Kazuma? You always choose your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment in this matter also. Father! Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand? A suggestion? I hope if I'm honest. But I won't force you. Well, I ask that you consider it and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes. Yes, alright. You won't leave, will you, Runo? The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so I'm done here. Get going! Get going! And that's that leave me. My bestie. And that's everything? Well, if you excuse me now, I need to telegram on government minister and the Japanese police with this information about Assassin. Of course, father, thank you so much. I look forward to the next month's installment. I was so sure there was 2 L's, I don't know. Miss Wilson? Okie dokie. Oh good, then please come to Baker Street sometimes, won't you? We'll love to entertain you. I will be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruto. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home already. You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he loved the chance to meet him with him and talk to him about all of this. Yes, no doubt. Assassin. Of course, it's obvious. Fucking hell! How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before you know? Mr. Schultz. Were you eavesdropping? Hurley, where have you been? Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What extraordinary question. I didn't notice you at all. No matter, no matter. Anyway, to more pressing concern, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It's a matter of much urgency. To Japan, you mean? Tell me to whom I can trust the task. Quickly, now! Who? Well, Sato? My father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself. I see. Well, he looked reliable enough to have the fellow. Bearded fellow. I don't think my father's sport could be considered a beard, my Mr. Jones. It's more like a mustache. It's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusting unshaven father to see these unshaven father. Can I read it? I cannot read it. I only see his no, I cannot read it. I will put what it is. No question at this time, if you please, Mr. Sato. All we can do is pray. That for once. My deduction is of Ray. Does that imply that your deduction are normally correct? That's presumption! That simply implies that your deduction are normally correct, which is exactly. You may be surprised to learn that I'm a very busy man. Certainly have no time to hide behind CDs and eavesdrop on other people's conversation. That's what Shonya's thing meant. I'll leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellow. He's gone. Wait a minute, Mr. Shelves! And he just sort of ran off, did he? Quite a pace. And left an unpaid bill for EST behind too. I should try it out. Must catch up with father at the telegraph office at once. They'll run and call us a can. Straight away. There was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Shun's bill. And there's a guy. Okay. I thought she went away anyway. Oh, she probably went to the cab. I don't remember. It is where Mr. Vigor was brought, apparently. To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Where is he? Oh, he's alive, kicking. Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigor? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you obviously try to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago. You just missed him. Kazuma better beat us to it. Say much the same as you. We were having tea! He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all these by myself. Please don't think like that. Given it from Evie, my wife, all these years, and carries such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I always came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what he had become of Mr. Beagle all along then. I'm sure this is just the search for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that our professor escaped 10 years ago. It wasn't me! I swear it! I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Vigor. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up on even more from your past at that time, but if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I need to get all this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. That's interesting. Inspector Gregson were obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the rebel marks, yes. It was when we had to carry out those investigations that I will take his identification and impersonate him. He pretended to be an inspector and carry out investigation on his behalf. Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there will think, the theft called Gregson is here. So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident. Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on the Lime Street, the red-headed league event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector identification run as very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes, so you will always have make a point of showing Greg's identification generally being loud. That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they gave their word and released me, without returning the inspector identification to you, however. We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. So someone knew about the meeting. It was a meeting on the 17th of June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution. But the professor execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. How did he dare to imagine that what a chilling plan it was? Barclay was renowned of being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. What exception? Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what loophole was now. The coffin into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned victim, the body was taken into his coffin for immediate burial in the local cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warden first had to sign the necessary papers, and after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. Okay. When execution took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I will wait the adjutant room for word that condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, went to the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I will sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, and then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. No. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that was my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free, right? But at the end, he was shot dead. He was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And this somebody was not me. Obviously you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After the trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by the elite members of the judiciary. They called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? It was the time to delicacy diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that a potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. I was the chief warder. I always saw his jaw stay in their cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean, exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe that what he done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, are you really responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. Yes. The following interclosed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testaments of Genshin Asogi. He had a will? That's interesting. They said it was the night of the following his trial after he'd been found guilty. I was doing rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. His last will and statement, then presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurried, shoving it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen will when he knows his dad is knight? Yes, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi incarceration, you see. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. Really? He was allowed these things? That's unusual, certainly. Of course, he'd be convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy, but at the same time he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final day shouldn't have been needlessly uncomfortable. What was the exception you mentioned? The personal effects that he was allowed. That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Interesting. Specifically, no pens or papers. So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what happened to him. Basically, yes. That was the long and the short of it. I have no idea where he obtained the paper, and writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the papers behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. Why did you just hide behind your back? Please, turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. You just agreed to keep quiet. Alright then, what's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. How can a will be a weapon? So I decided to pretend I see nothing and let him keep his will. But then later, it just seems to vanish without a trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? Well, Sim, that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will. If I was to hide it, I would prefer to burn it down, the paper. I'm quite confident it didn't. I was the only person who saw Asogi will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Asogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The wards gathered up Asogi possessions that were in his cell were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. Poor Kazuma-sama. Oh, maybe Kazuma found it. They're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects. The will, I mean. That's right. Thought I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Kaidi was livid. He was screaming, "I cannot have it disappear completely!" Wait. That doesn't quite make sense, does it? If you were the only one to know about it. Well, wait. Well, we do understand that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Yes, you're right. I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seemed that though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Maybe he was the guy that gave it a pen. Only he didn't refer it as a will. What he said was the Asogi papers. The Asogi papers? Papers? Couldn't really tell you anything of the significant events. The Asogi papers. Asogi papers! Because, well, what happened? Okay. Your dismissal, the way you blocked it all from your memory. Forgot all this until today, I don't suppose it's relevant to the case though. Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We are very grateful. I'm afraid there's a little more I can tell you. My wife Effie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, not at all. Thank you again. But what will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. It was all my own doing. I always knew that this day will come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Oh, Jesus Christ. Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it? The Asogi papers. Yeah. I'd be very grateful if you make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason. It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Some sort of will with the Genshin Asogi pen just before his death, which the man himself claimed it was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there is anyone who might know more about the document that Katsuma's father left behind, will be Mr. Vigil's governor! Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to the burglar later! Jesus. Profile. Did you left any note? No, nothing. Ouch, back again, are you? Yes, hello? Well, about your investigations, read the report just now. You found me, Vigil? Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more, so your case is now to do it baffling. Wouldn't you like it to get the wrong idea about that? Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we think he's this measure notice, haven't we? He wasn't given the chop. Alright, Kimmer, you can very well. So how about we handcuff biscuits? Oh, they're really light little handcuffs. So does Iris too. So, what broke you two down Dunha here today? Well, there's something we'd like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? And we believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshi Asogi's cell. I think it'd be called the Asogi Papers or something. Did you say Gregson's death is now to do with things that might have happened at Barclay? Leave the past in the past, maybe. Let's not futter about with irrelevant details. The expression changed completely. We are clearly onto something here. The funny thing is we promised to not mention it, and just the next moment we mentioned it. To the person that was looking for it. The murder's butcher execution, the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hours, aye. A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict was a collaborator? On the prison staff, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner will confirm the death of the man after his execution could initiate. The chief ward at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. The rascal would indeed say that otherwise, eh? More handicaps? How could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. Okay. Well, Mr. Vigil was under his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened. He was so despairing, he jumped out of the office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. You don't think he wouldn't jump from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you? Of course, I cannot shun all responsibility myself. I should have let him deceive me. Actually, there is a barely anybody that cans what went on at the time. Be Gregson having been murdered and Dr. Shady forbidden from having any visitors. Not visitors, someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. I will not dream of sending you packing with no, Kimmer. Here, take a hangover too. Oh well, it would be rude to say no. I don't want to become anemic. Iris? Really? I suppose you weren't anybody we might still keen about. What happened back then? It beat the last from the forensic division, Maria Gorey. Maria Gorey? Aye, Sight's daughter. She did have no more, just the one. But weird Bond followed her man's footstep. You'd only ever see her without scalping here and... Oh. Her. Mama? What is this? Where did she come? Spring from? Spring from? You called the doctor Mama? Daughter, daughter, Maria Gray. Could do with talking to her. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end the episode right now, right here, because of several different reasons. I think because we are over an hour, I don't know. But there's the video. Don't worry, we'll see me tomorrow. I'm gonna editing everything up, and hopefully I will notice all the delay and correct them. One problem after another. Ah, Jesus, I fucking hate it. Have a lovely bye, and a lovely, beautiful day.